the feminine, the mysteries of the feminine, the wildness of the feminine, the too muchness that we sometimes consider to be the feminine, the emotional changes in the feminine, the inconsistency that we sometimes think is the feminine. I want to talk about feminine in her fullness in a way that is very tangible and something we can sink our teeth into. I recently was in a massive unfolding with my partner, who is a man and who holds a lot of masculine energy in the world. And in our relationship, I hold a lot of feminine energy. This is very top of mind at the moment. And I'm so honored that so many people have been asking me lately to do more on the feminine. Like, Sabrina, where have you gone? You founded ReWilding for Women 10 years ago, and it was completely founded on reclamation of the feminine. All the wilder aspects of the feminine and the integration of them, the loving them, the healing of them, the coming into higher and higher expressions of these feminine aspects that can be, a little distorted sometimes or a little toxic. Like dark goddess territory work. And I'm really glad those questions have come up, and I want to create something for us. I did a little list. This is how I'm going to get us through this conversation, because my wild feminine needs a little structure. I created a list yesterday and the day before while on my morning meditation walks of what I would have told my own feminine when I was maybe a teenager, what I wish some elder wise woman would have came to me. I also created this and am kind of holding in my heart that this isn't just for women, that this is something we could share with our men. And guys, I'm real sorry if this pisses you off. I know sometimes my delivery for men, when I am really, really holding this much feminine, sometimes my delivery is hard because it's not linear. It's not rational. It's not in an order. But maybe my structure can help us to get through this. So I wrote down 10 things. I'll probably say 20. But they're things that I would have wanted to hear from a wise woman when I was a teenager. And they're also things that I would love for my man to hear. And it's probably not even to hear them from me, but somehow, somewhere come across them and gift himself with them. So in a very selfless way, with a little bit of selfishness in there, wouldn't it be great, ladies, if our men, or I don't even want to say men and women because it's beyond that, of course, right? Of course it's beyond that. But if our masculine counterpart or our counterpart who is in their masculine in that moment, we can even say it like that, knew these things about the feminine. All right. So the first one that I wrote down was, you're not crazy. You're not fucking crazy. You're not crazy. For many of us, when we feel like we're crazy or we're being told that we're being crazy, it's that the amount of life force that is ripping through us is more than we can handle in that moment. Life force can come in the form of emotions, can come in the form of physical sensations, can come in the form of words, thoughts, right? Life force can take any form through your body, can take heat, can take illness, can take any form. But it's crazy. We feel crazy, or we're called crazy when we've opened the floodgates to so much life force that we have not found a way to channel that. We have not found a way to organize it. We have not found a way to move it through ourselves. We have not found a way to maybe even hold it for ourselves. or our environment, our relationship, our environment is not able to hold that, to organize it, to direct it. Got that? If we were to feel into just raw essence of feminine energy, it is force. It is energy. It is a lot of energy. It is a lot of life force. That's the raw essence. Now the masculine essence, that is so fucking beautiful and it is so needed in ourselves, in our relationships, in our world, in the dance between this wild feminine reckoning that's going on, this wild amount of feminine reclamation that has happened over the last 10 years. We have done a lot of feminine reclamation. But now for some of us, it's that we haven't done enough masculine reclamation. We haven't reclaimed enough masculine power, enough masculine directive force, enough masculine consciousness to hold that much juice ripping through us, that much energy. Like we forgot or we weren't told, like, hey, if you're going to be opening up to that much Shakti, you're going to need that much Shiva. If you're going to be opening up to that much divine feminine juice, you're going to need equal, balanced energy, either coming from your environment, coming from other people, or coming from within yourself. Now, my way, let's say my way, is all of those. Is to have it within myself, to have it within my environment, to have it within my relationships where it makes sense, the relationships where I am dancing polarities with someone. Okay, so that was my first point. I think that's the one that so many can relate to. Here's my next point. Actually, I want to skip that one. Now we'll go there. Told you I was going to drive you a little crazy. The feminine drives any masculine being crazy. This is the nature of the beast. Drives you crazy, but you can't get enough. Like, you can't help but love it, but drives you crazy. Masculine wants nothingness. Feminine wants everythingness. She wants more aliveness. She wants more connection, right? This is why the feminine is constantly screaming for more attention, more connection, deeper. Can we just connect more deeply? Can you meet me? I want to be met. I want to be seen. I want to be felt, like in the deeper realms. And that's her begging for consciousness to permeate into deeper places in herself. Begging for masculine consciousness, either her own generated consciousness in another human being, consciousness in the environment. But that consciousness, and by the way, we can all train to move consciousness. We can all train to move it in our environment, to be met by it, to move it in ourselves, to be met by it. We can also train our partners, train our friends, and we are inadvertently doing that all of the time. We are inadvertently doing that all of the time. Isn't that wild? We are constantly training our partners, our friends. We are constantly training our friends and our partners. People who we're dancing in polarities with, you're holding the feminine, they're holding the masculine, or you're holding the masculine, they're holding the feminine, constantly training. And you're being trained. You're constantly being trained. Being trained. You're being... I won't go too far into that tangent. If you want to know more about that, the unconscious training that's happening, drop a note in the comments below. If there's enough interest, we'll do a whole episode on that. But let's come back to this. Let's call this level 2. The feminine will always drive the masculine crazy, and the masculine will always drive the feminine crazy. They are two sides of the same coin, though. Masculine holds nothingness, peace. Can we just have peace? Can we just I just need to zone out for a minute. I just want to get to the place within myself that is nothingness. Nothingness, right? Nothingness. Everything's done. Tasks completed, done. This is why masculine holds so much purpose in themselves, because there's at least little moments of accomplishment, little moments of I've achieved something, little moments of now I can rest in nothingness. little moments of now I can rest in nothingness until the next thing has to, because it's life. It's never going to stop flowing with energy. So this aspect of learning, understanding this and loving it, like coming into a relationship with this, the masculine will always drive the feminine crazy, and the feminine will always drive the masculine crazy. But to come into flowery combat with it, that's something that someone explained Tantra in those words, flowery combat. It's like, it's always going to be this dance. Always. She's always going to want more. The feminine will always want more. More love, more connection, more. And he, or whoever's holding the masculine, is always going to want nothingness, into emptiness. Please, peace at the end of an orgasm, peace, nothingness. It's why dudes go to sleep. And it's why feminine has an orgasm and she just wants more. Like, that is so perfect of examples, right? Masculine orgasm, done. I'm spent. I've accomplished the goal. Now just peace, nothingness, sleep. Shivaed out into the infinite all of nothing. So good. Why can't we just stay here? And she's over there, right? Like writhing with energy. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just so much aliveness and like orgasm. Like, wow, I can't sleep for like 5 hours. You know, there's no void nothingness. There's pleasure rolling, you know, like a deep oceanic cervical orgasm that lasts for days. It's days. It's just energy moving for days and days and days. But the joy and the bliss and the peace for the feminine comes in the motion, in the feeling full. She wants to feel full. He wants to feel empty. She wants to feel, and I'm saying she, he, but we all know, right? I'm talking masculine, feminine. And so just take a note. Do you prefer to feel full or do you prefer to feel empty? And then in different areas of your life, in different aspects of your being, because some of us, we have very masculine minds, but very feminine bodies. So what is your mental body? What is your emotional body? Some of us have very masculine emotional bodies, but very feminine minds. We're all different degrees of this in different aspects of our being and in different environments. Learning this about ourselves, though, is so powerful, right? Again, if I were to go back to when I was a teenager, could you imagine the heartache? Like, I think about this, like the heartache that I could have saved myself and others that I was in a relationship had I just known that piece. Just these first two things. Oh my gosh. I could have communicated things differently. I would have gone through so much less pain. I would have puked out so much less stuff just knowing this part. All right. Let's keep going. So point number 3, let's go back over here. I'll weave this in for the feminine, right? Because I'm a very, very feminine essence being. I have a lot of masculine though, like a lot of masculine. But this conversation, the feminine essence, and really honoring it, is we oftentimes don't translate the wisdom that's in the feminine essence. We haven't been taught to translate the wisdom in our anger. We haven't been taught to translate the wisdom in our grief. We haven't been taught to translate my body, right? I am a very, very somatic being. I'm a very body, psychosomatic kind of a being. Things will manifest in my body. If I'm not digesting something in my environment, my stomach will not digest something. That's one tiny little example of how my body wisdom, that's the feminine, my body wisdom is speaking to me. There's a whole language that the feminine body speaks, the feminine energy speaks, the feminine emotion speaks. There is a whole language. Now, a really good masculine will learn that language. A really good masculine, that's like the keys of the kingdom. That's the keys of the kingdom right there. Like, you want to know like the secret to women, learn that language. But for us also, who really hold a lot of feminine, that's the keys to myself. That learn my language, learn my feminine language. I mean, we should have had years of training on this. Learning my feminine intuitive nature. What is my body saying to me? Because my body is also an oracle. It can feel something coming. And I've learned, and still am. I mean, I'm never going to stop, because it's literally like having this like cheat sheet. It's like literally having a cheat sheet to what's about to happen. Like, you want to predict the future? Learn the language of the feminine, because she's connected into past, present, future. She's not just, of course, she's so responding to exactly what's in her environment, but most feminine, they're responding to exactly what's in their environment, but they're a little ahead and a little behind. Like, their current moment holds a little bit on both sides, and you can learn this language. So learn the language instead of judging it. Instead of judging it or going, I don't want to feel angry. No, you're feeling angry because someone just barreled over a boundary of yours. And actually, your feminine is saying, you need to speak up and you need to move that energy outside of your sphere of influence right now, because you're going to get sick in a minute. I'm just giving you a random example of it, right? So this learn the language of the feminine, and it is not the language we were taught in school. It is not a logical language. It's not a linear language. And oftentimes you can't even translate it into words. It's the deep knowing. You want to think instinctual, feminine, intuitive, emotional wisdom. It's like emotional intelligence, instinctual intelligence, women's sixth sense. There's a whole language in there. Okay, that's what I wish that I would have been taught when I was a teenager. Okay, let me keep going. So this one's going to suck. This one sucks. I don't like saying this one, but it's got to be said. The world does not support your feminine. Your feminine essentially in no way, shape, or form is supported. The environments, the structures, government structures, family structures, foundations, the world around you does not support the feminine. It was built on masculine principles. Let's just be honest about it. Instead of trying to sugarcoat it, let's be straight up honest about it. You have a baby, right? You have a baby. How supported is that process? You monthly go through cycles in your entire body. Your brain changes. Week to week to week to week in your monthly cycle. Your whole body changes. How much does your job support that? Bet your job wasn't built on that. We're built on working Monday to Friday. Typically, most of us. Not, I'm going to work when I'm ovulating like a crazy person. I'm going to work 7 days straight for 12 hours a day. Because that is when I am fully plugged in, I am a genius, and I got so much juice. But then when I'm in a shedding phase, when I'm shedding and I'm releasing and my body is doing enormous things, it is doing enormous cleansing things inside of myself. It is working very, 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 very hard. I don't take those days off of work, do I? So this is just being honest about it. And what are our own unique ways of living within the systems that were not founded on the feminine? Whether they're family systems, work systems, whatever systems they are. What is your way of honoring feminine rhythm, feminine flow, feminine cyclical nature? Right? And we all have to find those ways for ourselves, because what supports me is very different to what supports my best friend who's a woman. Right? I have lots of best friends, but most of them are women. Not all of them, most of them. But they're very different and they're very unique to us. But just this piece of, I wish I would have known that. I could have made different decisions. I could have set my life up differently. I could have said no to certain things. I could have listened to deeper rhythms and created. And of course I do this now, but back in the day, I sure didn't do it. I surely didn't do it. And some of us, we're in positions where we get to make great change. We get to make greater change, right? And so maybe you're in a position where you're like, wow, I actually can make greater change and I can honor the feminine in different ways in this structure that I can make change in. Okay, let's keep going. So, oh, this is interesting. Wow, this is very interesting. This list, it's very different reading it back to you than it was when I was like walking by myself. So we'll see where we go with this. I want to jump into this one. I very much wish that someone would have sat me down and had a conversation about my own toxic feminine. Someone would have really taught me when I was a young one, what are my markers to see when I'm triggered? What are my markers to see when I'm being reactive? What are my markers to see when I'm having a feminine fit that is not mature? I'm having an immature feminine response versus like a full sovereign feminine response to something, right? Like what are immature ways that don't work, immature toxic feminine ways that don't work versus like whole healed feminine ways that do work, right? When someone disrespects your feminine and responding from an immature way, what does that feel like in my body? What is that? What are those immature ways versus what does it feel like in my body? For example, I was in it with my family very deeply when I came into this work. Like, this is so outside of the box. I mean, I grew up like farming family in Wisconsin, right? Very patriarchal. And then to be doing what I do, it was like very Christian. I grew up Catholic. And then to be stepping into the work that I do in the world and coming back to my family, there was a lot of rubs, a lot of like, how did we lose her? How, like, my gosh, yada, yada, yada. It took me years to not respond to my family, who is like older patriarchy in my family, right? Generationally older than me, to not respond to them from being this young, immature girl that is just continuing to be squashed down and not heard and diminished. And to find this very open-hearted, very love-filled, very raw, very authentic, right, way of expressing what it is that's happening in my feminine when my family says those things or goes into that place around what I do in the world or my work in the world or who I've become in the world. And I finally got there. I finally got there. And it came from a place, I had tears coming down my eyes. It wasn't from a needy little girl place. It was from a place of I am now strong enough in myself that I can open-heartedly, very vulnerably show you how much this is hurting me. And I don't need you to do anything different. I can just be here in my absolute truth, my absolute open-heartedness, and expressing to you from the depths of my feminine being what this is doing to her. And never again did that conversation happen in my family. Never again. Never again. And it was my whole life since I left home and really started to open up to my feminine and do this work in the world. Never again has that conversation happened. Not once, not even close. It doesn't even get to those energetics ever again. That aspect and more examples of that feminine, right? I like to call it the divine expression of the feminine. There's the dormant, different aspects of the feminine, dormant. They're just dormant, right? Like, how awake and alive is your medicine woman? How awake and alive is your sacred lover? How awake and alive is your seductress? And so some of them are dormant in us. They just are. We were told they were not good. We were told there's no value there. We were told they were useless there. It's not healthy to have any parts of ourselves that are repressed at all. At all. It makes us sick. It makes us do twisted, gnarly things. That's where the toxic stuff comes out. That's where the distorted expression. So that's stage 2 is distorted. So like a distorted seductress, a distorted Lilith, right? Where you're just wielding power from like a hurt place. It's coming from wounds, right? You're wielding sexual energy from a wounded, needy, little unhealed place. Ugh, it's yuck. But it's all of us. It's all of us. It's all of us. And the third stage is the divine expression of it. Is coming from a place of whole, healed, sovereign, right? My seductress is clean, is pure, is in the service of the highest good of the all of everything, right? Like the gnarliest of the feminine, the witchiest, the wickedest, the most like, the ones that have been like turned in and twisted in on themselves because everybody told you that was not good or it was bad, or you told yourself it was not good or bad, and they get twisted. You know, it's literally like you can think of like the old hag witch, and she's just all twisted and gnarly. She's like, I want to eat children. Blah. You know, that's a perfect mythic example of a second stage unhealed witch. But a witch in a third stage, like that is medicine woman, right? That is medicine woman. That is high voltage medicine woman. And everything's coming from love. And everything's connected into this highest good of the all of everything, including herself, right? So this is another thing about the feminine, is this everything's always about other. We have such a focus on other. It's just the way that our hormonal makeup is. The moment we start bleeding in our teen years, we start to get this real empathy, this real sensitivity, right? To other. And it's beautiful, and it's meant to be that way. But oftentimes it's at the expense of self. So what I'm saying about divine expression is it's in the highest good of the all of everything, but that includes my highest good. If it's genuinely in my highest good, which most people don't get to their highest good. We just don't. It's not a place that we were taught to move from, to live from, is the highest good. Like highest good of your true self. You can say, well, this is good for me, but good for your ego, good for your false self, good for what level of you? I'm talking soul level, right? Highest good of my true self, right? It's soul nourishment then. It's in soul alignment. That is what's in alignment with the highest good of the all of everything. It's in the highest good of the other person, even if it makes them cry. Even if it makes them cry, because it's coming from the truest essence place. And if you are plugged into your truest essence place, you're also plugged into the truest essence place of all of everything. Because true essence is connected to the interconnectedness of the oneness of all of everything. It is the interconnectedness to everything. Most of us, though, we haven't been trained. We get there like on occasion, like on occasion, unless we train for it. And I know some of you, I know a lot of you here in the ReWilding community, you train for that. I know that, and I have deep reverence for that, right? I mean, imagine the whole world living from that place. Pretty sure we're not gonna see it in my lifetime. That's okay. All right, let's keep going here. I want to get through a couple more of these. I wrote this down. Teach the young ones. I just wrote this down as like a little note to myself of like, teach the young ones. In the feminine way, teach the young ones just by being it. Teach the young ones by being it. By being it. Every time I abandon my feminine, I'm teaching them how to abandon theirs. Every time I don't express the feminine inside of myself and the wisdom that's wanting to come through her, or the truth or the pain of the moment that's wanting to come through her in that moment, I deny that for them. It's like we teach by the embodiment of it. The feminine is embodied. It's the embodiment of it. It's the expression of it. It's our beingness. Our beingness. How deeply do you live in your body? Do you live in your hips and your heart and your head? You got the soul swagger going on, right? You got the full feminine essence moving through the whole of your being. Just you being that around young ones changes their coding. young masculine essence being, young feminine essence being. We're all both, of course, right? Changes everything. Everything. We do not understand that our beingness, we've devalued this. The world has told us because we don't get paid for our beingness. There we go. I told you we didn't live in a feminine essenced world. We don't get paid for our beingness. You don't get paid for the amount of love that you're radiating out of you, the amount of life force you're radiating out of you, the amount of truth you're able to radiate in a room. You know, we're not paying women to come into a boardroom, like a wizened woman to come into a boardroom and just hold love throughout that. Love and highest good. We're not paying for that. We're not paying for beingness. We pay for doingness. I want tasks accomplished. That's the world we live in, right? So teach the young ones by our beingness. I also wrote down teach our men. Teach our men by not the way we think that our men learn. It's not that way. They don't learn that way. Like, some of us have trained in this, of course. Some of us have trained in this. And I'm not a man, but my masculine, the ways that my masculine learns is through challenge. My masculine learns through challenge. You challenge my masculine and he will rise. But my masculine needs the space to rise, needs the opportunity to rise to the occasion. And I think this is where the feminine messes up. Let me do it for you. And then the feminine complains about it, right? She wants to do it for you. Let me fix it for you. Let me hold you up. Let me make you feel good. Let me heal the wound. But she's pissed off about it. Well, back off, sister. Back off. Create the challenge. Speak the truth. Show the hurt. I got another good one for us in a minute. But then give the space. He needs the space to rise. Consciousness needs the space. Like, stop smothering him. Stop mothering him and smothering him. Or her, right? It's not him. So learn, study more. What is it? How does the masculine grow? Right? How does the masculine evolve and grow? What do they need for their consciousness to be able to permeate differently, to be able to go further, to hold more, right? To create more structure, to create more direction, to be able to be present to more flavors of life, right? Which is just flavors of the feminine. To be able to be present to the wild woman, the medicine woman, the seductress, the air-headed, beachy girl. All of them. Okay, so this was, what was the next one? I had it for a second. This is the one. I love this one. This is on my list. That's what I was looking over here for. One of the greatest gifts that a feminine can bring is to reveal the deepest truth in her in the moment. To reveal the deepest truth. And it's oftentimes not speaking it. It's a reveal. It's a reveal. You are a feminine oracle all of the time. Learn how to open up to your own feminine oracle for yourself, for your loved ones, for your environment, for your work, for your colleagues, for your besties. Learn how to open up to your feminine oracle, because that feminine oracle, it is literally a life force barometer. It's a truth barometer. It's a soul barometer. Feminine is soul. Right? Feminine is soul. Masculine is spirit. Feminine is soul. And there is this feminine oracle capacity in all of us to, in the moment, like, yes, this is truth. Yes, this brings me radiance. Yes, this lights me up. Yes, this brings me joy. Yes, we are on it. Or the withering flower, the dull, dead, no radiance, no shine, like not being permeated by truth and by love and by the greatest of the all of everything. Learn that. That is, we think it's this like mystical, magical, wild thing. It's not. It's happening all the time. And we mostly just, again, haven't learned how to work with it. We haven't learned how to open to it. We haven't learned how to translate the wisdom, be with the wisdom. We haven't removed, this is also a huge thing for the feminine, is to remove the armoring. We were taught, most of us as little ones, to put a lot of armoring around our feminine, to get out of the feminine oracle and into logical, rational mind place, right? And so there's armoring, there's shells around this aspect of ourselves. And we oftentimes will have to go through releasing a lot of pain, a lot of grief, a lot of anger. It's like all the stored emotions so that it's just free flowing, right? So it's free flowing so that the container is really clear, really pure, really clean. It's not holding on to old residual hurts and wounds and griefs that we didn't grieve and all the years that we didn't rage out the anger and all the everything that we repress, right? The feminine is just energy. It's just energy. It's constant motion. It's constant energy. And so we want to get where there's a flow, just a free flow. And that's when we get to be more present. That's when we get to the third stage, divine expression. It is a divine expression of the feminine, no matter what flavor it's coming through, whether it's the witch or the seductress or the mother or the, whatever flavor it's coming from. It's coming from a high level because we're not holding old resentments. We're not holding onto past experiences. We've moved all of that out, and that can be years. Let's be honest about it. That can be years. That's oftentimes where someone gets a Kundalini awakening, because that's Shakti awakening. That's the divine feminine awakening. And then it's years of purification, years of just like crying or not feeling good, like years, because that's what she wants to do. She wants to move out all of the old so you can be present, so you can respond to the moment, so you can be a feminine oracle in the moment. You're responding to your relationship, in your relationship, not your first husband who treated you like shit. Right? But if that's still there, that can flavor this moment. It can even flavor how you see the moment. You're not even seeing the moment correctly because you're seeing it through wounded sunglasses, right? Wounded sunglasses of, oh, it was betrayal, it was abandonment. Your partner's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. So work through that stuff. Find the places, find the spaces. Archetypal work is the most powerful stuff that I can think of. Archetypal embodiment, most powerful stuff that I can think of for all of these feminine aspects and all of these masculine aspects. There's nothing that touches it. Nothing that touches it because it forces you to go into, for us in ReWilding, it's 36 archetypes. Forces you to go into 36 different places in yourself and open up that line and move all the stuff. I like to call it rubble. Like there's just rubble in the line. And so you got to move out those past resentments, the blocks, the fears, the distortions, the dormancy, everything that's in that line. Whereas if you were to just work with, let's say, the fullness of divine feminine energy, okay, you'll run it through the lines that are already open and available to you. You won't run it through the clogged ones. But when you work with archetypes, right, it's the specific feminine flavor of the seductress. You then go to the seductress. How much sacred juice, life force juice, free flowing juice is running through my seductress? You have to go there. The masculine, the warrior, has to go to the warrior. Is it toxic warrior, right? In myself, is it toxic warrior? Like what? I have to bring consciousness to my warrior. I have to bring the sacred juice to my warrior. I don't get to just run it through Shiva. I don't get to just run it through Christ consciousness. That shit's easy. Bring it through Saturn, Pluto, Lord of the Underworld. Like that's where stuff gets good. That's where life changes. That's where relationship changes, sexuality changes, your power changes, your financial status changes. That's where everything changes because now you're running sacred juice into places that sacred juice was not previously running in you. We're doing a massively beautiful, big, it's free challenge on these archetypal activations and awakenings. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. If you're watching this later on, there's always archetype. We have a living, breathing library of these 36 archetypal activations. It is the greatest body of work I have ever put together. It took me 2 decades to get to a place where I could create this thing. And when I did create it, it took me a year to create it, and it completely rewired my life. Completely. Even after working with archetypes that long, to do the activations in this way completely changed everything in me. I don't have words for it. But we are opening the doors to a free challenge. It's a rewilding challenge. If you've done one, you know that they're deep, they're big, they're wild. I don't hold back. I run it like a mystery school, right? So if you want to embody this and experience this in a way, join the challenge. You'll find links for that below. If there is no challenge available yet, or you're watching this later on, go do the 6 Faces of the Feminine Masterclass. That's always available. It's free also. Go do that. You get to do the medicine woman, the dark goddess, the lover, the mother, the warrior, and the feminine mystic. I don't have one on the masculine. If you want one, leave me a note below. Maybe I will create one on the 6 Faces of the Masculine, a masterclass. But if you're interested, go do that. It doesn't matter if you identify as a man or a woman, go do the 6 Faces Masterclass. And everyone is welcome to that challenge that's coming up around the archetypes. All right. Huge love to you all. And just love being here with you like this. Thank you for your comments. You inspired this episode. It was your comments and asks that inspired this episode. I'm always in the comments the first couple days after an episode comes out. So if you want to drop me something or have a suggestion or want me to go deeper into something, drop me a comment. All right. Huge love to you.